I don't understand why you can't push Shedeur as your QB2.
That's
me personally. I don't get that part. And here's the reason I'm saying that. Flacco knows Father Time has caught up to him, that he's not what he used to be.
Yep.
He's happy to be on an NFL roster to contribute in any way that he possibly can. He knows that he's a stopgap for the young guns coming up the rear. He knows that. So there's nothing wrong with putting him at the QB3 spot somewhere around 6 to 7 weeks.
Okay.
And then after that, I think you'll see when this season is officially over and it's about 5 or 6 games left in the season, I think you'll see Shedeur at some point in terms of what he has to bring to the table.
Breaking news from Cleveland. Stephen A. Smith has just given us a major update on Shedeur Sanders' potential start with the Cleveland Browns. According to Stephen A., we can expect to see Sanders take the starting position after week 7 or 8, and he's ready to show exactly what he brings to the table. But here's the kicker. Stephen A. raised some serious questions about the Browns' decision-making. He asked, why is Shedeur Sanders not listed as the second-string quarterback? Why is Joe Flacco sitting in the third spot? There's a lot to unpack here, so stay tuned as we break down what Stephen A. had to say about Sanders' future with the team.
And Cleveland is challenging for a postseason berth, which I don't see happening with that offense, which is ranked 31st and second to last in the league and 30th in their running attack, okay? I don't see that happening. If he played lights out, it would be different. But because I don't see that happening.
Stephen A. Smith didn't hold back, completely shutting down any hype around Dillon Gabriel starting for the Browns. While he acknowledged that Gabriel will get the start, he doesn't see him thriving in this offense. According to Stephen A., the stats speak for themselves. This offense is underperforming compared to most teams in the NFL. Because of that, he believes it's only a matter of time before Shedeur Sanders steps in to take over the starting role, likely sooner rather than later. Swagoo also chimed in, voicing his disagreement with Shedeur Sanders being placed at quarterback 3. He pointed out that Sanders has been putting in serious work during the offseason, and there's no legitimate football reason for him to be sitting at third string. Swagoo questioned the Browns, saying if they're judging Shedeur on anything other than his performance, then they're making a mistake. He made it clear that this decision doesn't add up based on what Sanders has shown on the field.
But if you have him number 3 because of anything else, the illusion of people calling for him or thinking that him being the second quarterback on the roster is going to put pressure on Dillon Gabriel and some sort of culture is going to happen, that's absolutely wrong. If you don't think the kid good enough to be your second string quarterback, that's a completely different conversation.
Stephen A. Smith also weighed in on the debate, raising an important question. Is Shedeur Sanders' position on the depth chart really irrelevant? He argued that it absolutely matters, pointing out the underlying politics at play. Stephen A. reminded everyone that Sanders dropped to the 144th spot in the draft, not because of his skills, but because of his father's influence. Given that, Stephen A. emphasized the need to pay close attention to Shedeur's depth chart placement, as the Browns are still trying to control the narrative around him.
In Shedeur Sanders' case, 144th overall, it mattered.
Yep.
You know that, Peter. You know that, Swag. It matters because it was Shedeur Sanders, and we got the impression that it wasn't just football. It was something about his dad. So what I'm saying to you is that we're beyond all of that now to some degree, and we get that part. But that doesn't mean the residue doesn't still exist in terms of people wanting to control the narrative when it comes to that young man.
Stephen A. Smith made it clear that the pressure on the Cleveland Browns is growing every day. As the team's struggles on offense continue to intensify, Smith stated that Shedeur Sanders can no longer be overlooked. With everything happening in Cleveland right now, you can't keep ignoring a talent like Sanders, he remarked. Smith believes that, given the rising expectations and the team's desperate need for a spark, the Browns will eventually have no choice but to give Sanders his chance. The mounting pressure from the fan base, the media, and the on-field performance all point to the fact that Sanders has earned the opportunity to start. And Stephen A. Smith isn't the only one who feels this way. Mary Kay Cabot, the senior journalist from Cleveland, echoed similar sentiments about Shedeur Sanders. According to Cabot, Sanders has officially caught the Browns' attention, and now it's just a matter of waiting for the right moment to give him his first start. She pointed out how impressive his performances on the scout team have been, and the buzz around him within the organization is stronger than ever. With the fallout from the Detroit game, it's becoming increasingly clear that Shedeur Sanders is likely to become the Browns' starting quarterback sooner rather than later.
I think, and Dion certainly thinks, that there is going to be a world in which Shedeur sets foot in a football game. Now,
Shedeur Sanders has also made it clear that being sidelined is no longer part of his plan. He strongly believes he's ready for a starting role and has the talent to back it up. While he's been patient up until now, Shedeur confessed to feeling frustrated about not getting the chance he feels he's earned, a spot in the starting lineup. This is the first time we've seen him voice his dissatisfaction. And if the situation continues to escalate, it could spark a new controversy. However, it's still early in the process, and there's a lot more to the story that hasn't played out yet. Shedeur Sanders has been outspoken about his belief that he's a better option than the quarterbacks currently on the Cleveland roster. He didn't hold back, even taking aim at Joe Flacco, expressing confidence that, given the chance, he could outperform the others. In a bold statement, Shedeur went so far as to claim he's better than some of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. While frustrated about being stuck on the scout team, he recognizes it as a necessary step to prove himself and earn his opportunity.
Everybody perspective. So, that's not nothing, in my place to answer. That's nothing I can't not answer, but I know for sure I'm not, I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that.
In conclusion, the growing tension around Shedeur Sanders' role with the Cleveland Browns is impossible to ignore. Both Stephen A. Smith and Mary Kay Cabot have pointed out the undeniable talent that Sanders brings to the table and the mounting frustration with the team's current quarterback situation. The Browns' struggles on offense, coupled with the lackluster performances from Joe Flacco, are making it clear that change may be on the horizon. Fans, media, and insiders are all calling for Sanders to get his chance, and the pressure is mounting on the Browns to make the right decision. Shedeur's frustration is understandable. He has been vocal about his belief that he's ready to start, confident in his skills and determination to prove himself. While he's respected the process up until now, it's evident that he feels he's earned a spot in the starting lineup. With the team's offensive woes and the growing buzz around Sanders, it seems inevitable that the Browns will soon have to make a decision. Whether it happens sooner or later, one thing is clear. Shedeur Sanders is determined to prove himself, and he won't let anything stand in his way. The story is far from over, and the next chapter is about to unfold. So, what do you think, Browns fans? Is it time for Shedeur Sanders to take over as the starting quarterback? Do you agree with Stephen A. Smith and Mary Kay Cabot that the pressure is building and change is inevitable? How much longer do you think the Browns can stick with Joe Flacco before making a switch? And most importantly, do you believe Sanders has the skills to lead this team and bring a spark to an offense that's been struggling? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Browns should give Shedeur the chance he's been waiting for? Or is there more to the story that we're missing? We want to hear your opinions.